Just the two Raptors, right? You sure the third one's contained?
What's going on, guys? Hope you're all doing well. Now for today's video, I wanted to talk about the new Raptors that we've been getting teased with showing up in Jurassic Park Survival, the 2025 or 2026 video game for Xbox, PS5, and PC that apparently takes place just one day after the events of the 1993 film. Now look, in Jurassic Park Survival, we've been shown that despite the fact that all three velociraptors that were either killed or trapped in the original Jurassic Park being a thing, there are now even more raptors out there to contend with for the video game. So does this break the series canon, or is there something deeper in the lore going on here? So for starters, I just want to get the two serious theories out of the way before we even begin, because there's really only two logical answers to talk about that we know of with the limited information we've been given at this point in the timeline for the video game anyways. Now look, theory number one states that these raptors are the ones that we see born in the wild in the original Jurassic Park movie from 1993. Theory number two is that they've been shipped over from Site B via the lore that was added in the 2011 Telltale game, which by the way also took place just a day after the events of the original Jurassic Park. So let's start with theory number one first, because this is the one that I think a lot of people are rolling with. Now, if these new fully grown velociraptors are supposed to be the animals that were born in the wild in the 1993 film, we've got a couple of issues. Now, does it make logical sense for there to be more raptors on the island? Actually, yes, not just the raptor hatchling that we saw Dr. Wu and Hammond go over at the beginning of Jurassic Park. If you pay attention to the scene where Robert Muldoon is freaking out over the fact that raptors have escaped the holding pen, they've got the same tracks that Alan Grant, Lex, and Tim find out in the wild when they're trying to get back to the visitor center. These are baby raptors. Now, you might be wondering, but wait a minute, how did the raptors lay eggs in the wild when they were stuck inside of the holding pen for the other, rest of the movie? Well, the answer is that the velociraptors weren't always in that holding pen. Muldoon had to do that because they were killing each other. If you pay attention to the flashing screen when the power is going crazy in Jurassic Park, there actually was a velociraptor paddock. It's shaped really weird, and it's close to where some of the other dinosaurs inhabited in the actual theme park. This is where the raptors originally lived, and it's probably where they started killing each other because they were changing their sex from female to male. This is why Alan Grant, Lex, and Tim come across the eggs in the original Jurassic Park. So does that mean that the raptors in Jurassic Park Survival are the raptors that grew up in the wild in Jurassic Park? Well, hold on to your butts there, guys, because I'm not so sure that makes a lot of logical sense. Now look, guys, if we pay attention to the footprints that Lex, Tim, and Alan Grant find in the nest, those are really fresh, and they actually look like they had to have been made after the thunderstorm that had happened just a few hours beforehand. So I don't really think that raptors that itty bitty and small could have grown to complete full size within a day. But hey, that's just me. We're dealing with Jurassic Park here, so there could be some expedited growth rate like they've shown in the animated series with Bumpy. But I don't care about that. I'm more interested in Jurassic Park 1, The Lost World. And don't forget that one of the original Jurassic World posters actually had a velociraptor standing on top of the Ford Explorer with a clutch of eggs underneath. So there could very well be wild raptors still on Nublar. I'm gonna say it. But are the full-grown ones that we see in Jurassic Park Survival the ones that were bred in the wild? I find it kind of hard to believe. Now that leads us to theory number two, and that would be that they've been shipped over from Isla Sorna, in a similar way to what was added in the lore in the 2011 Telltale game. This, I think, makes much more sense because Jurassic Park Survival does seem to be, at the very least, inspired by what was happening in 2011 with that old video game that took place right after the events of the first movie. In that game, Laura Sorkin tells us that these raptors were sent over from Site B to replace the ones that were killed, while the raptors were living together on the island. So they're fully grown, fresh off the boat, and they're never able to acclimate themselves to Jurassic Park because the power was shut off and everything went crazy. Now this, I think, makes a lot more sense, but it has a big flaw within the context of Jurassic Park survival. And that's simply the fact that we haven't been told any of that just yet. So yeah, I'm not really sure if they're going to adapt this for the new video game. We only know where one raptor comes from. It's the raptor that was locked in the freezer. The trailer makes it very obvious that it escapes, and it's one of the raptors that's chasing down Miyajashi on the island. Where the other two come from, and there could even be more guys, we don't know just yet, but I have no clue. The only other thing that makes sense to me is that the three raptors are in some sort of other condition that we haven't heard of yet. Like, maybe they've always been on the island. It was a secret being kept by Hammond or even Muldoon, or maybe they just didn't give us the full information in the film itself, and that the raptors were quarantined somewhere else far away from what had happened. You know, maybe they'd already cloned a few replacements on Isla Nublar, and they just had to wait until they were fully grown to integrate them back in with the other animals. I find that hard to believe though, because of the way velociraptors basically act in the first Jurassic Park. If there were more raptors somewhere else on the island after the power went out, and you know, Nedry and Muldoon and some of the other characters knew about it, why aren't they freaking out? I mean, Muldoon even says the raptor fences aren't out, are they? And Nedry specifically left those on. And you know, it's just, there's added stuff that makes this much more complex. So either the characters are out of the loop of what was going on the island, or it could just be that these are the ones bred in the wild. It's hard to say right now. I'm gonna be real with you guys. It could be anything. We don't honestly know. Have they entertained the idea of velociraptors living on Isla Nublar post Jurassic Park? Absolutely. We've seen that happen in the Dinosaur Protection Group canon written on the viral marketing websites. We've seen that played with in posters, old abandoned scripts even for Jurassic Park 4. We've even seen stuff like Jurassic World Aftermath, where they've had other velociraptors we had no idea about surviving on the island. At this point in time, there are theories that the fans are really going to be having fun with once we get more information on the video game. But I will also say this game may not even be canon. I hope it is, but we don't know just yet. I mean, are we just thinking about something that's nonsensical this whole time and we should just be having fun with the experience? Maybe, but don't you like when things are well thought out, logical, and coherent? Isn't that the whole reason we watch movies, play video games, and have fun with content? Yeah, I'm not gonna be a stickler for every single thing, but if it doesn't make sense and breaks the canon, it doesn't make sense and breaks the canon, know what I mean? Anyways guys, these are all just my own thoughts and opinions on the subject matter as a Jurassic Park fan. What do you guys think? Where do you think the raptors were coming from? Do you think it's something like the novel where they were all over the island, maybe even living underground in colonies? That would be super cool, but big problem. How come nobody knows about this that's working in the park? Like, raptors gotta eat something, you know what I mean? Unless they're cannibalizing themselves, how did no one pick them up in Jurassic Park? That would be a cool idea from the Michael Crichton book, but leave your own thoughts, comments, and opinions down below. Your own personal theories, I would love to hear. What do you think about Jurassic Park Survival's new raptors? Now, before I go, I want to thank everyone that's helped me build my channel over the years. I'd also like to thank every one of you guys who've watched my stuff. You've all been extremely cool to me. If you enjoyed the video, I'd appreciate a like and hope that you'll consider subscribing. God bless you all. Christ is King. See you guys in the next video, and as always, take it easy.